so scared of not having any money. You start acting like you're fucking broke. And sometimes people splurge, whatever the fuck you do. But you just do things from that state. And then from this state, you do things from that state. Which is why the free will thing is like, you have free will to choose who you want to be, but from there, it's going to play out what you're choosing. Your free will is to choose, but from there, it's going to play out. You see what I mean? And from there, people are going to act or respond based on these states you're in. As an example, if you think someone has the free will, if you believe someone has the free will to be shitty to you, that's what you'll experience. If you believe something shitty about someone, that they are always using people, that comes from your state. I really hate to break it to you, but that's exactly what Jesus was doing when he was healing people. He was seeing them as healed through who he was being. You didn't need any experience, any outside validation, because that's not what you need. You're going to always validate yourself by knowing what state you're in. Knowing who you are choosing to be. So sometimes the people that are in this shitty state, they start accepting bullshit from people because they have limited assumptions about themselves. They think people will leave them. They have fear-based beliefs. But then, like, you look at the next person and they're like even in this higher state, you see someone else who like does not put up with shit and they just like move the fuck on. It's because they're in that state where they're not accepting that as true for themselves. But this person is. I'm using that as different people because I hope you fucking understand that everyone has infinite states. Just bear with me. I'll give an example of someone that I know. One of my best friends and another friend. My best friend, who had huge insecurities, was seeing this other person as putting them down, belittling them, okay? Because they were in this state where they didn't believe in themselves. It was a reflection of themselves. But from the other point of view where I just didn't give a shit what they thought. And anytime they kind of said anything that sounded belittling, I would laugh it off because I thought it was funny. And I didn't take it personal. Like, it didn't trigger that belief in me. Whereas with that person, with my best friend, it triggered the belief in her that validated the meaning she had about herself. So that's why two people can experience one person in two totally, completely different ways. Because it's a mirror of themselves, of their beliefs. So we're still human, and even whenever we're in this state where we have insecurities or whatever, it's okay because we're human. It's okay to shift back to that. But it's about being aware of who you're being aware of what you're creating, and then shifting who your I am is, where your state of consciousness is. Dominantly, not once, dominantly. This is a huge reason why people do not believe in manifestation, because they think this shit was just like, oh, I just affirmed something and then it just shows up, and a lot of people just don't fucking understand. And then they give up on shit because they're not understanding, and then they just go back to what they knew or were familiar with. You can't just be like that and then get pissed off at the world, because what you're doing is getting pissed off at yourself for not changing who you are. This is totally a journey about yourself, not anyone or anything else. And sometimes that's hard to accept because we want to blame people when we're in that state. Because this is kind of a victim state. It's where you don't trust in the unseen. It's where you think things happen to you out of mere coincidence, or the world's against you, or what the fuck ever. It is a victim state. You have to recognize it in order to move. You can't not recognize that you're in a victim state and then change. Because if you're aware of shit happening to you and you believe this shit is happening to you because of X, Y, and Z, this is the state you're in. You have to choose to move through the states. Also, sorry, but I really want to add this in. Stop judging other people for where they're at or what the fuck ever. Because sometimes the masters still need to be reminded when they drop out of the state. You can have mastered this shit and then have something happen that drops you out of a state. So sometimes people will be like, oh, but they're the know-all or whatever, but that's just your judgment. No, people move through states all the time. And even terrible people that we put terrible judgments on, I know people can be fucking shitty. And yeah, people can be shitty because it's a fucking possibility. Well, obviously I think that because I believe that, so it shows up in my world. That's the whole fucking point of this all. It's so fucking simple. But to that statement, if you believe in someone being shitty, it's coming from you. It's not coming from anyone else. You don't have to let the other person bother you. You get to choose who you judge. And you get to choose what you decide to judge about them. Just saying. A lot of this stuff, the reason why I love this stuff so much is because it's about taking so much fucking personal responsibility that you can't blame anyone for anything. And then you truly can change. And whenever you get to this state, that really high state, you'll understand so much that you start seeing things so much clearer if you would just allow yourself. That if everyone was aware of this stuff, they would start shifting themselves and we would stop seeing this bullshit like murders and just people being shitty. Because people are mostly being shitty because they're coming from a victim state. But honestly, I just have the idea that if we were to create some type of heaven on earth, it'd be when people were choosing this more. We would see a huge change in our whole world if everyone was choosing their higher states more. But because of religions and everything holding people back, it's my belief. It's not going to happen. Anyway, I really, really hope this has helped understand states of consciousness. I really, really hope that someone benefited from me explaining the choices and what's going on in your reality. Also, sorry, but I forgot to mention this too. When you start becoming friends with people who understand this, holy shit, you'd be in this shitty state and like your best friend will fucking guide you back here because they fucking know what's going on. And they already know like not to fucking judge. And it's just so much helpful because like I'm just telling you, like if everybody fucking knew this, I'm just saying.